Hey there, YouTubers. A Tuesday morning. I think I might have got all of 3 hours of sleep last night. Came in about, I don't know, 2:30 or something. But, by golly, when that sun starts coming, it's about 5:30, 5:40 right now. Well, it's beginning to show out there in the sky. And I can't sleep through that stuff. If it's daylight, forget it. I'm awake. Hey, check this out. What do you think of that? I went down the other day to a beauty supply called Sally. Sally Forth to the beauty store. I've never been in a beauty store before. It was like I was kind of smiling to myself. I was thinking, hey, Mike, you could get some stuff and dye your beard, make it look brown like it was when you were 27. I think I started graying up when I was in my early mid-30s. It's pretty much shock white now. But anyway, that's kind of funny. Down to the darn store again tonight at 10 p.m. We're using this huge vacuum affair. It's so noisy, but it really works good around. That way you don't nail, with a pick, destroying all kinds of. We got high dollar pipes down there. You do not want to get near fiber optics. Just don't do it. It's noonish, and I stopped today on the way home and said, I'm going to have me a quart of beer. I don't have to go to work for another 10 hours, and I think I'll be able to wear it off. And didn't have any beer yesterday. It was kind of nice. Anyway, the thing is I wanted to comment briefly on a video I saw, and of course, again, I don't have the header. Of course, I don't even know. Don't ask me how to do that link stuff down there. That would mean I was technically paying attention. So anyway, gosh, it's just horrible. What's going on out there in Maui? Oh, egregious. I mean, this is getting to the point here where it's getting ugly. I mean, we're talking maybe like a civil war kind of mentality here. There's this book called The Fourth Turning, and I don't want to wear you out with it. I wish I had my copy. I think I gave it to my sis a long time ago, but I don't even remember when this was. I want to say it might have been 15, 20 years ago. I can't remember. At any rate, it was an interesting premise, and it goes back to ancient Roman times and all kinds of stuff. But in other words, the presentation is that there's a cyclic reoccurrence in terms of a crisis threshold and then resolution, and that we're coming up on what's called the fourth turning. Fourth turning means, World War II. That was a fourth turning generation too. They called them the greatest generation. Well, that generation stood up and essentially threw down the Axis powers. That was Nazi Germany, and Italy, of course, wasn't Nazi. They were fascista or whatever. And then, of course, Tojo, the Imperial Army of Japan. And so the West took on this, juggernaut, as it were. Those guys wanted to conquer the world, beat the snot out of them. Then the USA turned around and essentially became the bad guy. And there's an interesting guy. I've discussed him before, and his name might come back to me here. When you need a name, who can remember it? But anyway, he was talking about this, and he was talking about sort of a momist America, mom. In other words, I loved his description. It was an iron fist inside a velvet glove, nice and soft and fuzzy and sweet. Iron fist. And so he essentially said that we inherited this was written in the 50s. I wish I could remember that guy's name. Yeah, it'll come back to me. And so anyway, eventually. And again, that book. Why didn't I keep that book? It's a good book too. Anyway, the situation out in Maui is just hideous. It's heinous. And now we're talking about. This is just egregious how the so-called administration has treated these people. And remember now, these are American citizens. These are natural-born American citizens, true blue, straight up. They're good people. And they've been wanting to hang on to their ancestral home, and they've been trying to push them out of there and push them out of there. Just a month ago or more, the so-called governor out there, it sounds like the one we got here in NM, but another Democrat. Why do they keep voting these people into power? We already know what they do. Anyway, he signed essentially an agreement. It's kind of like a zoning requirement inside Hawaiian law, which allowed them to go in and in an emergency, whatever an emergency might turn out to be, I guess it's either the county or the state has the right to essentially annex the property. We're taking it over. And that was signed in, and that's probably a backup deal. And because there's going to be a lot of families who, with these greedy vultures coming in trying to buy them out of, pennies on the dollar. And guess what, by the way, if they'll just back up the cameras, the main area damage was 51 acres inside a city. And 51 acres is not a huge area. It's big, but it's not huge. Not that far away houses of millionaires untouched, unscathed. Not even a whiff of smoke on them. And you can see it from the air as they roll around. All of a sudden, here's the line of devastation. Just where they wanted to annex that land in the first place and been trying to buy them out for years. This is so crooked and this is so corrupt. People have died. People are missing. And now they're talking about at least 1,000 children missing. This not that long on the heels of the story coming out, with that movie, Sound of Freedom. But now there's these NGOs that are running prisons for children in America in old Walmarts. 5,000 children per building. Gee, that sounds real sanitary. See, I've plumbed Walmarts. I know what's in there. A couple of gang baths, one for the men, one for the women. A couple of the other stalls, or whatever you call them, the little offices, they rent out across the storefront on the face. There might be a bathroom or two in there. It's one toilet, one lav, one toilet, one lav, etc. There's no showers or anything. And, there's a little bit of kitchen equipment. There's a sink over there, and there's a sink over there. That's it. That's your plumbing in there for 5,000 people. And then they're selling those children. Well, guess what? There's 1,000 children gone missing. The government doesn't know where they went. Maybe they were whisked away in the middle of the night. We don't know. Where'd those families go? They can't find the families either. And they're looking through the rubble. It's such a disaster that the heat was so high, it was melting steel and aluminum and stuff. That don't sound right for a wood fire. You're off by like 900 to 1,000 degrees. What happened? And again, here we go probably with the aluminum and stuff to make that flame more. Oh, and I was watching some of that stuff with that fire. Of course, now 100-mile-an-hour wind, that does make it pretty much like a blowtorch. But I was watching these videos on this guy last night, and it's just like, that would have been unbelievable to be in that. The fire was so aggressive. It was like a wild animal. And, or even worse, a pissed off, crazy wild animal. But I'm not advocating for violence. I'm not advocating for gang or mob rule. But I think a lot of people are going to get stirred up here. This is kind of like the spirit of 1776. And the problem is with the fourth turning, if in fact we are, the next generation we were hoping to be the foot soldiers, the heroes, they turned out to be all these LG persons, these people who can't figure out if they're even a man or a woman, and they ain't going to be soldiers. No. So the generation that should have risen up to fight this and throw it down and throw this back in the teeth of these evil billionaires. And the thing is that I'm not saying this, but I was thinking this morning, I thought, I bet you what's going to happen is that it's going to begin to occur to some people. It's open season on billionaires. Take them out. Start with the big shots. And I'm not saying that that's a good thing. I'm just saying that it's going to be part of what's going on in the mental map of people. People are going to want to strike out. They're going to want to hit back hard. And go for the heart. Go for the jugular. People are not stupid. And now we're talking about a situation like, a little bit like, go back and study your history, the bloody French Revolution, which occurred, in fact, they're almost kind of reenacting the French Revolution right now. There's all kinds of crazy rioting going on over there. And it's not so crazy when you begin to realize they're facing the same evil powers. And what we're looking at is so strange. This WEF and all these cretins and slugs, and sorry to insult you honest cretins and slugs by comparing you to these guys, but I needed some words. Anyway, the comparison here is, in Europe, it's even worse in a lot of ways. And so we're going to import a lot of crazy stuff going on. Right now, out there on the east and west coast, stores are just being looted, wide open. People just walk in and take everything out. Police, where are the police? Has anyone ever heard of the National Guard? Can we restore order? Or do they even want to restore order? Is that part of the plan too? And so, I don't know, it's just evil. It's just flat, ugly, flat-ass evil. And of course, where's the church? Asleep at the switch once again. She has no comment, no comment, and no comment. And she does not plead the case of the poor and those who are being displaced by the powerful who can manipulate events and pay off officials. You hear about the guy out there in Maui, at the time, it kind of made sense to me to shut off the water. Yeah. Anyway, it's kind of what we were doing, I was like, what? And the so-called area manager for, not civil defense, but safety emergency stuff. I forgot what they call this guy. He just resigned. The idea of turning on the sirens seemed like a bad idea to me. And you should see this cop. I forgot, was it Puddlehead or whatever his name is? I can't remember. Oh my gosh. Just look at his face. I mean, they're just watching his face and his demeanor. I was thinking, this guy's a criminal. But he's wearing a cop outfit. So he's the criminal in the cop outfit. This guy's just a horrible liar. And he was the one who had people turned back at apparently gunpoint. I don't know. Police blockades preventing people from leaving the scene of the disaster. Well, some of them at least could pick them up and put them down. They ran to the ocean and dove in. And that's not maybe say the most dignified thing in the world, but it saved their lives. And this toad, this ridiculous puke, he was involved in that thing in Vegas a few years ago where all those people mysteriously, unaccountably died. And so this guy's, he probably voted for the poodle. But at any rate, it's just so ugly. It's just horrible. And this is what's happening to American citizens right now. So what this means is, I guess I need to do a little research, Mike. Do your homework, Mike. I really don't even know what these 15-minute cities are, but they keep talking about that being part of the plan here, the plan. But anyway, getting back briefly to Weffy and that whiff from hell. They think they're going to take the world over. Well, guess what? They got another thing coming. BRICS is coming out with a gold-backed currency. And they're muscling Western Europe and America out of the picture. The U.S. dollar is no longer going to be the standard in the world. There's going to be a new standard. Because guess what? It's backed by something real, not by phony, baloney, lying promises of politicians in a fiat currency. Oh no. Real money, called gold, is represented per unit. The way they used to do it, when things made sense a little bit, before Richard Nixon. And, just horrible, just horrible. But don't you give up. Jesus Christ is coming one day, and justice shall be done. These evil, twisted, lying, murdering persons shall not escape unscathed. He remembers perfectly. And you cannot deal with him and survive. So you will be destroyed. That is all. Into the flames. If that is your desire to perish in hell, actually not even hell, because it's all going in the lake of fire, even hell. Ugh, there's a thought. And in there with that crowd of lunatic devils for an eternity in agony. You don't want to go there. Just don't do it. But the only answer out is the blood of the Lamb, the empty tomb, the empty hillside where he rose right up, and then that maybe the same hillside, I don't know, when he comes back down and stands on earth again. He is coming, and I don't know if I'll live to see it, but in a sense I want to say it this way. Here at 60, almost 65, I believe that, who knows what the poisons they're pumping in the air right now. I mean, I don't know how long any of us have to live with all this garbage they're putting in the environment. And today there's this weird haze again. What is this crap in the sky? I can't pick it out. It's like this ugly gray junk. Hangs pretty close to the ground. Maybe 1,000 feet up. What is this junk? Doesn't look like dust to me. And there ain't been enough wind to drive dust either. They're polluting the air. They're murderers, that's all. And you know what they really want to do is they want to get you and me out of the picture. The name of the game is mass murder. And they've said so. They've made it quite clear. And so that's what they're trying to do with these not magical potions that have a strange ability to emerge from a laboratory, perfect and intact, on the first try, with no trials. No trials are required. It's amazing. It'd be like, saying, you know what, I threw 7 pennies in the air simultaneously, and when they fell down, they just stacked up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, face up, all of them, perfectly aligned. That's what happened on the first try. Really? And it ain't that good. Nobody's that good. Well, I guess the king is. But anyway, I don't want to wander from the subject. I mean, this is going to get ugly. People are going to start talking civil war and seceding from the Union. In fact, half of Oregon, counties in Oregon have already took a plebiscite, or whatever we call it, to secede from Oregon. They don't want any part of it. They want to line up and ally and be united as part of Greater Idaho. People are getting sick of this bull. Bleep, bleep, bleep. Bleep, 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 bleep. No reason to get harsh, no reason to get mean, no reason to get ugly. All I'm saying is that there's going to be a lot of people who's going to want revenge, and it could get very ugly. Very ugly. And you are going to be the source of balance if you trust Jesus. You're going to be the light in the neighborhood when you believe in the Lamb. You're going to be the one who's level-headed and has a clean conscience and is not recommending anybody get shot down or burned down without a legal trial. But after the trial, oh yeah, I'd be glad to stand on the firing squad and pull the trigger. If it became a case of public hanging, I'd be glad to put the noose on their neck. Yes, sir. Sign me up. I'll volunteer. But I refuse to take it upon myself as a vigilante or some kind of terrorista. No, that's what they're already trying to make us into. Don't you fall into their game. They don't define you. You are defined by the Lamb, and He defines all things, and what He says is true. And He's right. So don't you give up just because things are so ugly, awfully ugly, grim, ugh, and vile too. Just mean-spirited, vicious, and plotting, greedy. This path shall not prosper. The Almighty shall wipe it clean in fury. Don't go there. There's no hope that way. But he who is our hope, He comes our way to find His lost sheep, and He don't give up on you. He never gives up. Don't you neither. God bless you, man.